I want to talk about the recent arc that we on and what Cycle's thinking about it because let's keep it G. We all heard all our opinions. We heard Melo's opinion. We heard my opinion. We heard Free Game opinion, but
Hmm.
we haven't heard Cycles. Cycles, are you up to date on the manga?
They say access cycle still there. In
Yeah,
fact.
yeah. I'd say about a good 90%. You know, I go through it to see what's happening with what's
Hmm.
occurring in the manga so far. Um, so far, I'm not impressed. Right. Um,
Mm.
reason why is because of the characters. Obviously, you know, they've only started to build the foundations for the new arc, so therefore, like, it's not going to be as hyped as you know maybe halfway through or you know during the finale when you know things are intense. Um, okay. Let's talk about the characters in general. Code, right? I don't think Code is an interesting character at all. For some reason, he has this huge infatuation with Otsutsuki's, which is not explained why. Um, and then apparently Kawaki has this huge infatuation with Naruto, right? That is explained. Code's, however, isn't. Ishiki has done absolutely nothing for Code, right? So it makes no sense why this guy is worshipping Otsutsuki's, right? I don't know. Maybe there's something he knows that others don't. But except from that, really, nothing about his character is really, really unique. I've seen the a character who looks bored, you know, has a lot of power, and is hiding all of that beneath the bored personality. I've seen that in so many animes, so I feel like that character is not original, and because of
What?
that, I'm not really drawn to that character. So what I'll say is right. I'll just wait for now for Code's character to see whether it becomes more interesting or not. But so far, I don't know what to think about that. And then I feel like so far this whole arc has turned into like a Dragon Ball Z thing, where we now have like an android arc, and there are these robots coming out right now. It's very concerning to me because if you really think about it, right, except from Boruto, well, except from Team Seven, the new Team Seven, right, and Kawaki, all these new opponents that are coming out are literally gonna wash the other the other team members that these people have because trust me, Inojin is not gonna win against like these androids. It's not gonna happen, right?
Mhm.
And let's be real, these androids are so strong to the point where Naruto and Sasuke are gonna have problems. You know what I'm saying? So if Naruto and Sasuke are gonna have problems against these people, how are all these other next generation people, you know, gonna handle them, kind of thing? So I feel like in terms of story, if I was writing the show, um, if I was introducing all these characters, I'd make sure that they're relevant, right? I mean, let's compare it to Naruto Shippuden because obviously, if you have a new product, you're gonna compare it to the old product to see whether you're getting better quality or not, right? It's natural.
Well, real quick, just to piggyback off that real quick, and this goes back
Mm-hmm.
to the greater question: has Masashi Kishimoto actually fell off? Because there's a lot of Boruto fans out there that believe the previous writer to the Boruto manga, Kodachi, he was a lot better than the originator of the whole Naruto series, Masashi Kishimoto. So, are you saying that Masashi Kishimoto actually fell off?
There are pros and cons, right? I feel like in order for me to come up with a good conclusion on that one, to give you an answer on that one, we need to give Kishimoto as much time as Kodachi has had. So I don't know how long has Kodachi been writing this for.
About
I think
50
it's probably like
chapters.
okay, so let's give Kishimoto 50 chapters, right? And then we can say whether it's improved or not, right? But so far, all I know is this the pros to Kishimoto writing it means that he can actually, you know, put legit lore on the characters. Say
I
for
think that's
example,
why it's
right?
been kind of
In the
slow.
well, say for example, in the anime, right? The anime cannot do things which contradict the manga, right? Because the manga is what's leading, right? Same thing with Kodachi. If he's writing something, he can't do anything, you know, outlandish. He can't do anything big unless he has permission from Kishimoto or some level to that degree. So I feel like if the main writer is in charge, then yeah, like the story can basically go anywhere and it's still going to be original. Whereas if
Mm.
Kodachi was writing it, he has limitations on what he can and cannot do because he needs permission. You know what I'm saying? So those are the
Hmm.
pros. So far, like I said, I can't answer whether you know if Kishimoto has done a better job than Kodachi or not because the new arc that's essentially started is all written by Kishimoto, right? So we'll see. At the end of the day, right? I can't. If it turns out that this arc is boring, I really can't blame Kishimoto because remember he's only picking up from something that someone else created. You get what I'm saying? So then he has to change it into his story, right? and so on and so forth. Maybe he might not. If he really started Boruto from scratch, he would have probably not even introduced Ishiki. He may not have introduced the ninja tools. He may not have introduced these androids and so on and so forth. Do you get what I'm saying? So essentially, he's just taking over from somebody else. And I'll say once he's done 50 chapters, then we'll see whether it's a good idea or not.
Yeah, I think he's trying to lay down some foundation right now before he brings in like the big hitters.
Yeah, basically, essentially. So yeah, in general, with the arc, we're just gonna have to wait and see, to be honest with you. But so far, it's not really that interesting. Do you get what I'm saying? I mean, I like the fact, right, that Naruto and Sasuke lost their powers because the power that they had was so out of reach. And I feel like they were trying to go the Dragon Ball Z route, where it's like, okay, now we just need to get stronger and stronger and stronger than the next enemy that's gonna come, right? I feel like power is the easy way out, in terms of writing a story, right? I would be more interested, right, in the world of Boruto. If you think about it, right, the five great nations are not the only, villages that exist or nations that exist on the planet. It's a huge planet, right? There are other villages out there. There are other nations out there. I want to see people use chakra differently, to the point where, I want to see like a group of monks somewhere on the planet who have, been isolated from the world, and they've used chakra to the point where it's borderline looks like magic, but they're actually, doing something different, right? Do you know what I'm saying? I
Kind
want
of
to
like
see
how they
people
bring the
travel to.
samurais in, like they're like kind of trying to flesh out the samurais more
Exactly.
in the
See, I
series.
like that. You know what I'm saying? There could be a whole story, right, and history about the samurais and, why they exist and so on and so forth. And I feel like that is what they should be exploring, because Naruto and Naruto Shippuden was all about just, staying inside of Konoha, right? Naruto doesn't travel the world. Like, there's so much that they could do with this planet, right? And apparently now they're aliens, right? And the Suzukis are destroying them. Why not explore some of these aliens? Talk about their lore. How do they use chakra? The whole ninja system. The point of being a ninja is only a concept that exists on Earth, right? So if they
Mhm.
go outside of that planet, right? Otsuzukis don't. They don't use hand seals, bro. Right?
Yeah,
Ninjas do that stuff. So clearly, there are people out there who use chakra differently, right? And there's so many other things that are unexplored. Like, say for example, like, I don't know, the the land of the dead. Like, when people die, right? There's a
mm-hmm.
whole there's a whole system that I kind of figured out by watching a lot of the anime and the manga, reading, doing my research. There's a whole system as to what dimensions people can go into and so on and so forth, right? So there's a lot of concepts out there. I really like for Boruto to actually travel the world. I wish that was his story, to travel, the entire world, and make the story more about him instead of him staying in, Konoha the whole
Yeah,
time. Konoha has been done to death. You get what I'm saying? So I
yeah,
feel like
Well,
that's the
well,
direction that they should take the story.
I want to play devil's advocate a bit. We've kind of, well, first things first, we've kind of already seen a difference in, I would say, fighters, mainly because now we have cyborgs. Now that might not be the most palatable difference in fighters that you could possibly see, but because obviously I think that a lot of people would actually rather us dive into some samurais, or as you said, some other people that use chakra differently. But also I do have to point out there's going to be a huge portion of the fan base that wouldn't be interested in downgrading on the power of opponents. And this is very interesting, man, because I do believe during the Sarada Kawaki, well, let's just say the new Team 7 versus Boro, that fight specifically was one of the best fights of the whole series. Team 7 versus Deepa is one of the best fights of the whole series, but it's not held to the high esteem as like an Ishiki versus
mm-hmm.
Baran Naruto, because it was a downgrade in power. Because of that, people don't necessarily get as hyped for those fights.
Yeah. I hear what you're saying.
Okay, so hold on. Let me ask you this, right? Well, actually,
Mm.
I'll tell everybody this. This is my opinion, right? And you don't have to agree with me, but I believe that Naruto vs Pain was the best fight that exists in the whole series, right? And it's not
Mm.
because of the fact that the taijutsu was good and all these other things. It's a combination of two things, right? And those two things are how it affects people on a philosophical level. Like, Pain came not as just a villain who's just evil and destroys stuff. He came with an actual story. This guy was a person who was a survivor from war, and Pain represents what war does to a person, right? It's either you change, right, and you fight against your natural instincts to, hurt someone back, or, you know, you just give in. and you become one of those people. You say, I'm just doing what the world has taught me, or you say the world has taught me this, but I'm gonna do this the other way. Pain and Naruto were literally polar opposites, right? And that is actually something that if you really sit there and think about, it's really deep, right? And I'm that type of person. I really like things that help me think. Do you know what I'm saying? So it was a combination of that, right? And what it also meant to Naruto, right? So that by itself, yeah, the fight was good. However, it's the story side of things, right? Is a good combination of story, lore, and fight that mixed together to make something that was so captivating. I feel like that is what every single villain should bring to the table. But instead, right,
That's what they are
people
missing in
are
Boruto. I'll give
starting,
you that.
yeah, I feel like instead now people are going towards the route where they prefer villains who can do different types of jutsus and have more power, more power, more power to the
So you're
point
saying
where
like these villains
the
are
story
don't have
aspect.
enough backstory? I'm sorry to cut you off, Cycles. And so you're
Nah,
saying like the
yeah.
villains
So
that we're getting in Boruto don't have enough backstory, like how in Naruto we got a lot of backstory on the villain.
see,
Almost every villain that was introduced into the series, we got some type of backstory on them. The
Well,
characters
well,
in
well,
Boruto is kind of just
no,
getting thrown out
what,
there,
what I'm
and
trying to say what I'm trying to say is they do have backstory, right? However, the backstory is not engaging or interesting enough.
okay,
Like I said, with Pain, Pain, what he stood for, right? It was important, right? The connection that him and Naruto had is what made the fight
right,
interesting, right?
right,
They had the same teacher, right? And both
mm-hmm.
students went separate ways, and now they're coming together to fight to prove their point, right? It
Okay,
was deep. It had, Shippuden was always about Naruto being a tail beast and him being hunted, right? But
mm-hmm.
except from that, this the fight with Pain is on a personal level to Naruto. Do you get what I'm saying? And
Yeah,
because you like Naruto, right? Because he's the main character, you feel like this is your friend, right?
right.
And this person
mm,
has killed your friend's master. So now you want him to win. Do you get what I'm saying? But now, if you listen to what Pain is saying, Pain is also right. So it kind of creates a conflict inside of you, if you get what I'm saying, right? It makes you feel a certain way because both of them are right. Yeah, Pain really learned about the world and everything he said about how cruel the world is true, right? But what Naruto is also saying is true. So that creates a conflict inside of you. It makes you actually sit down and think as a person, right? And I feel like story is supposed to do that to a person. You don't go into a cinema and say, I just want to, watch a movie where people just, beat each other up, unless that's the whole point of it, right? But if you're actually writing a story, it needs to captivate people. And I feel like these days, the anime these days, not just Boruto, but people have just given up on writing a good story. As long as they have enough, flashy effects and stuff on the screen and people fighting and doing flashy moves, that's all it is, right? They've forgotten about, captivating people and making people think. I've watched certain movies in the cinema where I've came out and I'm literally starting just thinking about it, like, wow, this really makes sense, that sort of thing. I feel like that effect is missing, right,
Mm-hmm.
from these days, the storytelling of today. So yeah, um,
Well,
the
no, no,
the
well, here's the thing. I completely agree with you, and I think me and Free Game had a discussion like this a couple podcasts ago where we kind of thought about, the actual deep, well, what's really behind Ishiki Otsuki, and of course the will to become an Otsuki god. We thought that right there on the surface was a very weak actual will. We thought, of course,
Right.
comparing it to Pain, that right there is nothing like actually on the same level. But we kind of came to understand that there is definitely a possibility that there's a deeper meaning behind becoming an Otsutsuki god. For example, let's say hypothetically somebody on Earth, let's say a ninja god. Naruto right now is viewed as the ninja god. Naruto took that to actually bring about peace. There could be another character like Ishiki Otsutsuki who wants to bring it, well, another character, let's say anybody who wants to bring about completely the opposite of that, or could possibly have an idea of what Nagato had. I'm just saying that there is possibly a deeper meaning behind what Ishiki Otsutsuki has and all the other Otsutsuki members, but we just have not necessarily gotten to that point in the storyline to where it's actually shown to us. For example, the first few episodes of Naruto Shippuden, we had absolutely no idea what the Akatsuki's goals were. You had
Mm-hmm.
Obito who wanted to do something, you had Nagato who wanted to do something. We haven't necessarily heard Naruto's in-depth plan until that actual fight. So we kind of came with the idea that we can't necessarily judge it yet until, just like what you're saying with Masashi Kishimoto, we let it play out. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah,
yeah,
facts.
I fully understand that.
But no, no,
I
no.
feel
But
like
I was just saying, I completely agree with you. You probably don't have that trust in the writers to actually give them that benefit of the doubt. And I think not only you, but majority of the Boruto fan base and majority of anime fan base view Boruto and Boruto like that in the same light. So that right there isn't just only unique to you. And I think I completely agree with you to a certain extent. I just personally believe that before I sit up here, before I make a rant video about it, you know how I get, I want to play out first and then see exactly what happens.